Okay, so here's our log splitter. This is home built by me. Got a 3/4 inch plate down here at the bottom with your I-beam welded to that, and a traveling slide you can see here that slides up and down. You grease where the contact points are on the I-beam, and the slide travels up and down the I-beam, splitting your wood. The splitting head you can see was ground down, and then I had to add 2 pieces of steel there to make it a little bit longer. You'll see up here, let me see if I can get there. See right here where this is sticking out past our splitting head here. So this wants to hit wood. I did angle it a little here at the bottom, but not enough. And also I should have brought this out so that when the wood gets here, it's already out past this pin. So anyway, if I wanted to modify this again, I would add some steel coming up here and a plate across the top to spread that out a little bit more, and that helps to also split the wood a little bit. This is a motor, pretty simple. I think it's a 12 horse or 13 horse. It was on a generator I had. 1 gallon tank, gravity feed. Got a filter in line with a shut-off valve. The carburetor on this, the float sticks, so I just turned the fuel off. Got a key. The starter's not working right now, so it's pull start, but also has a 3-point hitch built onto it, so using the I-beam and the steel plate at the bottom, there's a brace that comes across underneath, and the bottom piece actually, it sits on that and the plate, which gives it 3 points of contact more or less. So it's easy to set down and keep flat, and doesn't want to move around when you're using it. If I can get back a little bit. And then, so you can see our 3-point hitch there. We've got 2 pins, and the pin goes in the top. Tractor comes back here, backs up to it. I hook it up, lift it up, and then this thing is mobile. I can take it and set it wherever I want to. And you'll see I added a muffler on there. Makes it a little bit quieter for the neighbors. But yeah, this is the whole thing. Just a pump, a reservoir, control valve, and a cylinder run by a 12-13 horse motor. And you can run this pretty much all day. I run it for about 30 minutes or something like that, and split up a pile of wood. Then I stack the pile of wood, and then I go back and split some more. And you can see I got plenty to split. What's up, Taco? But yeah, anyway, so we're gonna get back to splitting some wood.
Let's split some wood.
already split up quite a little pile here. Get her stacked up. Got something in my eye. I guess that's why they make safety glasses. Heard about. They say they keep stuff from getting in your eye. Wow. Probably the worst part of splitting wood is actually stacking it. As you can see, it's a lot of work. But you can heat your house for just about nothing. The biggest expense is probably fuel. And occasionally having to repair your splitter, your motor. This splitter, I've never really had to do anything to it other than work on the carburetor, which you're going to have that with any gas motor, especially if it sits all year like this one does. And you're not using it, so you got to make sure there's no fuel sitting in it. Otherwise, you're going to have some stuff in the carburetor that ain't good. And it's not going to want to run right. So, I've got a shutoff valve on the fuel. And I use that to shut off fuel when I'm done splitting so that nothing leaks. And also there's no fuel sitting in the carburetor. Because as fuel sits in there, this new fuel anyway, gets moisture, corrosion, all the bad stuff. So, best thing is to not have it in there, so you don't have to mess with cleaning the carburetor out. Now on this carburetor, we have a little issue with float sticking, fuel leaking past the seat, and I can get a new carburetor, but when I start it up and I get it running, it runs fine. So, I mean, it doesn't leak when it's running. It'll leak when I shut it off because the bowl fills. So I don't really worry about it too much. try to do is replace this stack every year so that I've always got some good dry seasoned wood to burn all year. I like to have, it's a little bit more than a cord. Well, I say that, 8 foot by 4 foot's a cord, so 3 stacks by 8. This is 12 feet. So, you know, when I get 3 stacks here, I'm about 1.5 cords. This is about, well, so here, 4 foot. So, you know, about a half a cord up to here across. So it's about 1 cord here with 2 rows up to my head, or close to it. But I like to have at least a cord sitting here ready to go for winter that's already seasoned from the year before. That way I know even if it's a really cold winter, I'm not going to be looking for wood to burn. You want seasoned wood for burning. You don't want to use green. There's 2 reasons for that. One reason is green wood puts out more carbon, more water, vapor, and the other thing is, and sap. The other thing is it burns slower. It's harder to start. So you want to have seasoned wood that's easy to start and that still has all its BTUs, so you're going to get all the energy out of it. You know, some of this stuff's deadfall, and you know, you can use it. I mean, it's wood. It just doesn't have as many BTUs in it. As the wood, you can see here, this wood, as it rots, it loses BTUs. So the best thing to do is to split your wood when it's green, and then season that for a year, 6 months, 3 months, something like that. It just depends on the type of wood. Water oak holds a lot of water, so you know it requires a little longer for seasoning. So that's another reason to have what you're going to burn for the year on a bad year, put away, and ready to burn. So where I'm at right now is I got a little short on wood this year because last year I broke my back twice, 6 months apart, and so anyway, I had to have rods put in, and that slowed me down. I couldn't come out here and split wood. I couldn't come out here and cut wood. Couldn't carry a log. So I ran short on wood. Now, that's another reason why having extra, if you're burning wood for heat, you know, you're going to want to have extra. So fortunately for me, I had enough wood set back that was seasoned, that was easy to burn. I could skip a year, and last year I wasn't able to split wood, I wasn't able to cut wood, so I ended up burning out all my wood at the beginning of this year, except for a little bit. I got a little bit left, but for the main part, I burned up all my wood because I had enough set back for 2 years. That means if I don't split for 1 year, I'm going to run short on the next year, which I did. but at least I had enough to get me through until I could get some more wood, get it cut and split, and that's what I'm doing now. And as you can see, I'm getting I'm getting caught up. I've got enough here to get me through the next year without doing anything else. And our biggest thing here in Florida is hurricanes. So that's where we get our wood from. So, this year we didn't have any hurricanes, but also I broke my back twice. In fact, I broke my back the first time on the last hurricane we had. Fell off the roof, landed on my feet, but that wasn't very good because then I landed on my butt. My feet took a lot of the impact, my legs, my feet, but anyway, I ended up breaking a vertebrae. Then, after I got better, I say after I got better, after I got walking normally, after seeing a podiatrist and getting injections between my toes, which I don't recommend that to anybody. If all they can do is give you injections, find another podiatrist. But anyway, that's what I did. And as soon as I was able to walk right, I started working again. And part of my job is installing TV antennas for people. So I get up on a roof, always with a ladder, install the antenna, 50-foot pole. So anyway, when I got back to work, I jump up on a roof, and next thing I know, I'm flying through the air again. And this time I knew it was going to be bad because I was up a little higher. Metal roof, it was wet. Boom. Feet first, off the roof. Hit my nose on the roof coming off backwards. And I hit with my feet and then buckled my knees and then hit my hips and collapsed. So ended up breaking a vertebrae, exploding, I guess you could say. And a piece of that vertebrae stuck into my spinal cord. So next day they had to, 12 hours later, they got me in surgery for 12 hours and got that piece of bone out of my spinal cord and then bridged that vertebrae that wasn't there anymore. Pieces, they had to pull all the pieces out. But they bridged that with a couple of rods and now I'm good to go. But in the meantime, I hadn't really recovered from the first time, so my feet were messed up. And then the second time, I tore my ligaments and tendons, ACL and some meniscus stuff. All kinds of stuff was tore up in my legs and in my hips and back. Plus, they had my back open, so anyway, been a slow recovery. So the reason I say that is because you never know what's going to happen to you. And if you're prepared, which fortunately I was with the wood anyway, you can, get by for 6 months or a year till you get back in shape. And the older you get, the longer that takes. So, word to the wise. And I say that because it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of wisdom out there anymore. It used to be people would conserve, my grandpa taught me when I was a little kid to conserve. He grew up during the Depression. When he was a kid, it was the Depression, and people in the Depression had to learn to live with nothing. Basically, nobody had any money, nobody had any assets, and you couldn't make money. And that was the biggest thing, is there was no money around. So you had to do everything pretty much bartering or doing it yourself. And if you did get something, you kept it. So for instance, one of the things he taught me was anytime you take something apart, you're gonna take all the parts and put them away. Nuts, bolts, screws, doesn't matter. Everything, everything that you take apart, you're gonna want to save. You don't want to have to go out and spend money for stuff that you have, but you're too lazy to take it apart and take the parts out. Back when he was a kid, there was only so many different screws, nuts, bolts. So most of that stuff would have been interchangeable. Now there's metric this, and you got all kinds of stuff now that you didn't have back then. But at the same time, there's no reason to waste. You know, I see people throw stuff away. They use it one time, they throw it away. Well, yeah, that's kind of our economy. Everything is made to be thrown away on purpose. And you may be saying, well, why? Why is everything made to throw away? Well, let me explain. So, if you buy, which I would, anyone would, if you buy something that's supposed to last a lifetime, you're only going to buy that once. If I'm selling you stuff, I'm gonna try to sell you more stuff. You bought it one time, you'll buy it again when it breaks, right? You were happy with it, but it broke. So when my grandpa was a kid, he didn't go buy another one. You bought it one time, paid a lot for it, and you fixed it. And if it wasn't fixable, you took it apart, you saved the parts, and used them to fix something else later. Or make something else later when you needed something, like my log splitter. I did buy a few parts, but a lot of that stuff I had basically laying around. That's why if someone was going to ask me, well, why did you make that this way? Why didn't you do it this way? Because that's what I had. And so when you're making your own stuff, it's going to be particular to you and your situation, how you make it, because of what you have laying around. And if you're conservative minded, that means you don't throw things away. You buy it one time and you bought that. Like for instance, a wrench or a ratchet, especially a ratchet. Something that you're going to have, that you're going to use. You don't want to buy one that you don't like to begin with. It's like buying food you don't like just to have food around. You're never going to eat it, so why buy it? Same thing with tools or anything else, really. And once you get into that habit, it's just a way of life, and you don't waste anything, and you end up accumulating a lot. That's kind of a side effect. You know, if you prioritize the things that you have, you end up with a lot of things later on. Unless you weren't planning and you don't have a place to put all your stuff.